And now on Open Ears, José Moncayo. José Pablo Moncayo García was a leading figure in Mexico's post-revolutionary musical nationalism movement. He's known worldwide for his most famous work, Huapango, but his vast repertoire remains largely unexplored. Moncayo was born on June 29, 1912 in Guadalajara, Jalisco, to Francisco Moncayo Casillas and Juana García López. He was one of 9 children. Moncayo and his family moved to Mexico City when he was 6, and at 14 he started piano lessons with Eduardo Hernández Moncada and began to write his own music. 3 years later, Moncayo was accepted into the National Conservatory of Mexico. Soon after, his father died, and Moncayo supported his family and funded his education by playing piano in Mexico City's nightclubs. In 1935, conductor Carlos Chavez recognized Moncayo's abilities and invited him to be a percussionist of the Mexico Symphony Orchestra. Moncayo, together with 3 other students of Chavez, Blas Galindo, Daniel Ayala, and Salvador Contreras, formed a group whose purpose was to create and promote Mexican classical music. Moncayo's career as composer and conductor was taking off. In 1941, Chavez sent Moncayo and Galindo to Veracruz, a port city in eastern Mexico, to research the local folk music. There, Moncayo drew inspiration for his most famous piece, Huapango. Huapango is a family of Mexican music styles, and the name derives from a Nahuatl word that means on top of the wood, because dancers would perform zapateado dance steps on a wooden platform. Moncayo incorporated 3 traditional huapangos, Siki-Siri, Balahú, and El Gavilán. Huapango is orchestrated by emphasizing instruments typical of the Veracruz style, trumpet, harp, and violins. On August 15, 1941, Huapango premiered at the Palacio de Bellas Artes, performed by the Symphony Orchestra of Mexico and conducted by Carlos Chavez. The following year, with a scholarship from the Rockefeller Foundation, Moncayo studied composition with Aaron Copland at Tanglewood in Massachusetts. There, he got to know Leonard Bernstein and Lucas Foss. In 1942, Moncayo completed Sinfonía, his first symphony, and also the piece Llano Grande for chamber orchestra, which premiered during the Berkshire Music Festival. By 1945, he was formally appointed the assistant conductor of the Symphony Orchestra of Mexico, and that same year he premiered another orchestral piece titled Sinfonietta. Because of his success as a conductor, Moncayo was promoted to artistic director by the following year, and he continued composing. In 1949, the symphony changed its name to the National Symphony Orchestra, and Moncayo served as its director until 1954. During this time, he premiered Tierra de Temporal for the centenary of Chopin's death. And in 1953, he gained international attention with the premiere of his ballet entitled Zapata. Moncayo's final years were marked by both successes and sadness. In 1954, Moncayo married his sweetheart Clara Elena Rodríguez del Campo. However, that same year, for unknown reasons, Moncayo was dismissed as the director of the National Symphony Orchestra. After that, Moncayo started teaching at the National Conservatory. The fall from leading the most important orchestra in Mexico to teach likely stressed Moncayo financially, and over time, this affected him physically. And on June 16, 1958, just a few days short of his 46th birthday, José Moncayo died in his home in Mexico City. His diverse repertoire includes 40 works in various genres, like choral, ballet, opera, film, chamber music, and symphonic pieces. His most famous work is still the monumental Huapango. And about what inspired him, he said, "Our music must first be deeply Mexican in order to become universal, not necessarily based on folklore, although the composer should not lose spiritual contact with popular music. The son, the huapango, the corrido, doing something that hasn't lived, or at least been felt, will make an insincere work without depth." With its roots running deeply through the country's culture, Moncayo's masterpiece is considered Mexico's second national anthem. When you hear Huapango, you feel Mexico.